Of things. We've been talking about question words, and we've talked about the word what. So there's lots of ways of saying what. One of them is que, one of them is qu'est-ce que, one of them is quoi. So we've seen that que means what, and what I want you to take notes on is that que goes at the beginning of a sentence. If you use qu'est-ce que, that goes at the beginning of a sentence. If you use quoi, it goes at the end of a sentence, and you've learned that quoi also goes after a preposition. When we use que at the beginning of a sentence, we have inversion. Boop. When we use qu'est-ce que, we use it at the beginning of a sentence, but there is no inversion. When we use quoi, it goes at the end of a sentence, and there is no inversion. And we've also seen that quoi goes after a preposition, and we're just not going to talk about that much anymore today. Okay, so let's look at this one. Que goes at the beginning of a sentence. So let's look. Que fais-tu? Do you see the inversion? Que fais-tu? That's inverted, because normally you would say tu fais. All right? Qu'est-ce que goes at the beginning. There's no inversion. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Why isn't there any inversion? Want to know why? Because we've already got some inversion right there. Okay, I don't know if you thought about this before, but es is actually this inverted. Okay? And then we look at quoi. Quoi goes at the end of a sentence, and there's no inversion. Tu fais quoi? So all of these mean the same thing. Que fais-tu? What are you doing? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? What are you doing? Tu fais quoi? You're doing what? Or what are you doing? They all mean what are you doing? And I don't know if you noticed, but in English you say what are you doing? When you put what at the beginning of the sentence, you have inversion, right? The statement would be you are doing. But what are you doing? We used what and we have inversion. But if I say you are doing what, there's no inversion, just like in French. Okay, so now look at those same things. Instead of saying que fais-tu, let's do them for vous. For vous. Okay, que fais-tu? Que faites-vous? Qu'est-ce que? So qu'est-ce que tu fais? Qu'est-ce que vous faites? And how about quoi? Tu fais quoi? How would we do that for vous? Vous faites quoi? Right? So now let's move on. Now let's make these present tense sentences passé composé. Que fais-tu? So remember how it works with a passé composé? We have three boxes, right? We have one box for je or tu or il or elle. We have another box for the auxiliary verb, so that's going to be avoir conjugated, and in some cases, être conjugated, okay? So right now, we have que fais-tu. There's only one, the verb is only in one piece, but we're going to do this in the passé composé, so it's going to say, we're using tu, right? So we still have que. Sorry. You guys might be wondering what the heck I just did. So what happened there? You know how, let's do insert text box, we can handle this. You know how in this part right here, we have avoir conjugated. So we have a or avait. Actually, I need another text box right here. This is tu as, vous avez, and then what do we have in this text box here? We have the past participle. What's the past participle of the verb faire? It's fait. So tu as fait, vous avez fait. Sorry about the capitalization, that's annoying. Tu as fait, vous avez fait. We use inversion when we're doing the passé composé, and we're using inversion. What gets inverted? Oops, that was a big arrow. What gets inverted? Well, the subject pronoun and the auxiliary verb. So we have que fais-tu, qu'as-tu fait. So this verb faire, the verb faire in the present tense is conjugated tu fais, right? And we used inversion to get fais-tu. And the verb faire in the passé composé has two parts. We have the auxiliary and the past participle. So, qu'avez-vous fait? Qu'as-tu fait? Does this make sense? Now let's look at qu'est-ce que tu fais? We don't have inversion. There's no inversion after qu'est-ce que. So we're just going to say qu'est-ce que, what are we going to write? Qu'est-ce que tu as fait? How are we going to do it for vous? Qu'est-ce que vous avez fait? Oh, looks, yeah, qu'est-ce que vous avez fait? So why is this fait? And this, why is this fait? Why is this fait? And why is this fait? Okay, in the first place, in the passé composé, we have to use just a past participle, and the past participle of faire is fait, right? So down here, we have passé composé, so it makes sense that we're going to have the conjugation of avoir, and we're going to have the past participle of faire, which is fait. So qu'est-ce que tu as fait? Qu'est-ce que vous avez fait? But up here, qu'est-ce que tu fais? Qu'est-ce que vous faites? We're just conjugating the verb faire in the present tense. Okay, so let's see. Let's look at the last one. Tu fais quoi? Vous faites quoi? Do we use inversion after, or do we use inversion when we have quoi at the end of the sentence? Let's check. Quoi goes at the end of the sentence, no inversion. So let's look. Tu fais quoi? Vous faites quoi? So we're going to keep quoi at the end of the sentence, but this time we actually have to use it in the passé composé. So normally we would say tu as fait quoi? Well, that is what we would say, right? Because we're not going to use inversion. So tu as fait quoi? Vous avez fait quoi? Does that make sense? Vous avez fait quoi? Yeah, that's the end.